What's up, Delaware? We are back here on DETV after a little hiatus. Hope everyone had a very happy and safe Thanksgiving holiday. Nick Alessandrini joined, as always, by Jason McCall and Matthew Maurer. Guys, we're back, right? It's been a little while, giving everybody some time to, give them a break from us for a week and a half or two. But here we are back, ready to go. We've had some exciting stuff go on in the past week and a half. We're obviously going to focus on the more recent stuff from yesterday, week 13 in the NFL. Some big news in college football. Prime making some waves with his decision to go ahead and leave Jackson State. But again, we'll hold that there. We've got a lot to get into. But first, Jason, good to see you again. How was Thanksgiving? You've been traveling, as always, all different places every other weekend.
Thanksgiving was amazing. I was able to go to Mississippi to see family and in-laws, but also had a chance to go to New Orleans. After that, for that weekend, went to the Bayou Classic, the biggest HBCU game there is every year, Grambling versus Southern at the Superdome in New Orleans. So the SWAC will be fine without Deion. They were fine with him.
A little foreshadowing to what we'll get into.
But it was just a great time, and I'm just coming back here, getting reacclimated to work again and everything. But no, the holidays treated me very well. I can't complain.
Great to have you back. Matt, how's everything going with you? I know your Niners starting to look pretty good. Not great news coming out of San Francisco yesterday, but you picking up a few fantasy wins here these last couple of weeks. How's your postseason looking? How's your postseason chances looking?
Postseason looking good in fantasy.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Couple leagues. Couple other ones is bad, but I'm not gonna talk about that. They don't exist. But like Jason, I enjoyed Thanksgiving with the family. Ate tons of sweet potato pie and mac and cheese. And
hey, the two best things you named right there.
That's right.
Watch some football, right? Get some good football.
Yeah, I told him I don't even need the turkey. Just keep mac and cheese and you know what I mean.
There you go. And again, we'll get to your 49ers here in a little while as well.
Let's ask you, how was yours?
It was great. Thanks, guys. I've had a chance to hang out with the family. Big day for number 11 yesterday for the Philadelphia Eagles. A revenge game. Revenge game against the Tennessee Titans. Anyone could have seen that one coming. We'll see for A.J. Brown. They wouldn't give him his money. Maybe next year we'll see if Lamar has a revenge game opportunity if he's not a member of the Baltimore Ravens. We'll get into that a little while as well. But let's start with Deion Sanders, fellas. Here we go. We've been talking about Deion, it seems like, for a year and a half now, ever since he's been at Jackson State and the success he's had with that program here recently. And we're all kind of wondering, the nation kind of wondering, if he were to get a different opportunity or an FBS offer, would he take it? Would he leave Jackson State after such a short time and having that success? Well, now we have our answer. Again, reports that he will be leaving Jackson State to take the head coaching job at Colorado. So he's going to head out to the Pac-12, which who knows if it'll stay the Pac-12 in a few years. Some programs leaving, such as UCLA and USC, but he's going to take his talents there. He's got a whole recruiting list he's taken with him from Jackson State. Of course, Shedeur is going to be the quarterback at Colorado. He's going with him. A lot of different dominoes starting to fall. He's been already working the transfer portal. They've got tons of guys already ready to go, and he walked into that meeting room yesterday and met with those guys from Colorado, and the first thing he said was, enter the transfer portal because I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's Louis. So that's what he said. He's ready to go. Jason, let's start with you here. Deion Sanders, 5 years, $25.9 million to go to a program with just 2 winning seasons in the last 17 years. Colorado has been struggling, but the AD, Rick George, taking a shot here, going out and getting Deion. Let's start with you here. How you feeling about Deion taking this job at Colorado?
Dennis, I need my time right now. So we're going to go here with it real quick.
Getting started early tonight, everybody.
Yeah.
As an alum of an HBCU at Delaware State University, and as a current student at another HBCU, Morgan State, this is a slap in the face to HBCUs. I understand the business decision. I do. Let me preface my statement by saying that. However, you can't parade around like you understood the culture and you respected the culture enough. And the state of Mississippi, the city of Jackson, welcome you and your family with open arms. And it's not why he left. It's how he left. He was rushing the trophy presentation for the SWAC championship. He got on a charter jet. The joke is he beat the Colorado team to the stadium. They were in their dorm rooms before the conference they had with each other. And you kind of you're stripping Jackson State of the recruits that came to play for you by taking half of them essentially with you to Colorado. And if I'm leaving to take a job, I'm not leaving for Colorado. They have not been a national power in 25 years. Let's put it out there. And with the Pac-12 situation, are we really going to respect Colorado winning a watered-down Pac-12 championship with 9-10 schools? You were building a legacy at Jackson State. You won the Eddie Robinson Award for the best coach in the conference. You won it again. You won 2 straight SWAC championships. You could have built what you're trying to build at Colorado still at Jackson State. And let's be very clear. The SWAC conference is not devoid of talent or Hall of Famers. You have Michael Strahan, Texas Southern. You have Ed Too Tall Jones, Tennessee State. Right in Jackson State alone, you have arguably the greatest running back of all time, if you're over a certain age, Sweetness, Walter Payton. You have Robert Mathis, Alabama A&M. The list goes on and on. So, yes, he brought a allure to the SWAC, a lot of confidence, a lot of reemergence, if you will, put national eye, but the SWAC was good before Deion, and SWAC would be good without him. It's just how he left. I respect, like I said, the business decision is fine, but it's how he left, and now Jackson has to actually kind of like go in scramble mode to find a new coach and to keep players in. But the SWAC will be fine. The SWAC has always been the premier conference for black college football talent, so they'll move on. But the problem really is this. If Shedeur is putting up decent numbers in the SWAC, he hasn't played against D1 FBS talent defenses.
And Power 5.
In Power 5 conferences. How good is Shedeur going to be?
We'll find out.
In the Pac-12?
That's a good question. That's something to keep
That's the
an
question
eye
I
on,
have
because
right
again,
now.
he's already been named the starter, Matt. That was the the words out of Deion's mouth here over the weekend. Interesting, as Jason mentioned, taking the job at Colorado, obviously probably the first FBS offer that he even received. I know that job at Auburn was out there. They didn't offer him the job. They decided to go in a different direction. Colorado does. He is there now. What do you think about Deion going to Colorado? And is that where you would have liked to seen him?
Well, first of all, let me take my hat off to Jason because he spoke some really great words, and you can tell he has true investment in that culture and experience. I, for one, didn't believe it. Not you, but
No.
Deion.
I believe.
Yeah. The Deion to me was a fraud. Always was. And I want to just like Jason, I want to say this. I understand the decision to leave. I understand the money. But my thing is this:
either, right?
Since he started at Jackson State, he has pushed this narrative that he's there to build the HBCUs up to get the money that the PWIs have. He has pushed the narrative that when he goes out and recruits, he has pushed this experience that they're there for the reemergence of this HBCU programs and everything. My issue with Deion for the last couple years has been, I knew you were going to leave as soon as the offer came. I don't think to Jason's point, when has Colorado they haven't been good since Nebraska, since West Virginia days. Like it's been a long time since Colorado's been relevant.
2 winning seasons in the last 17 years. Not just win a bowl game. 2 winning seasons. That's over 500 in the last 17 years.
And this isn't Texas. This isn't Notre Dame. This isn't one of these prestigious programs where the build isn't going to be huge. I think he's underestimating the build there. I really does. If he thinks Jackson State is hard, it's different. See, at Jackson State, whether we like to admit this or not, you got those 3, 4, and 5-star guys you're going after. You're telling them this is the experience. I'm Deion. I'm hands-on. Well, guess what, bro? Now you're with everybody now out here, and you got to battle all those Nick Saban. You got to battle everybody, and all of them got deep pockets. And that's the thing that I don't think Deion's really respecting here. The recruiting is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. No matter what he tells himself, getting Travis Hunter, you pissed a lot of people off.
Playing both ways.
Yeah, and part of the other thing with Travis Hunter was sold there because the experience of I'm going to be taught by the greatest cornerback, arguably the greatest cornerback in pro football history. Now what's the selling point? I mean, we don't even know where Travis Hunter's going yet. I don't believe, has he?
Travis is probably going to end up at Colorado too.
Yeah.
That would be a bit. If not, I mean, I feel
Because
like you
remember,
would know
Travis is playing wide receiver and corner.
which is insane, right? I mean, I love
But
that.
I've heard there's been rumblings that Florida State is
Well, that was his
seriously-
first commit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I've heard Florida State's in the picture.
Exactly, and I'm sure the way they're playing now, again, they're a top 15, 13th ranked team in the nation after the success they had the second half of the
But
year.
the true domino with this story is Shiloh Sanders, the older son, who already played the FBS football at South Carolina and transferred to Jackson State to play for his dad.
Right.
Shiloh has embraced the whole culture to the point where he's his sixth drum major at Jackson State. They call him J6 because he's been with them all year. He just got his mace a couple weeks ago, drum major mace. So Shiloh is really upset about the decision. And even Deion said in his press conference, he's in doghouse right now because he didn't
make the
with
trip,
him.
yeah.
So, and Shiloh's like a junior, senior anyway, eligibility-wise already. So, and
Eligibility
I
is such
feel
a
like
question mark.
if I'm Shiloh, who was the first Sanders to have an endorsement deal with Under Armour with his licensed jersey with his name on it, he doesn't need to go to Colorado to prove himself. I think Colorado was more of a proving point for Shador than it would be for Shiloh. Shiloh already committed to a FBS school, played for them, got hurt, got healthy, transferred to Jackson State, all-conference defense at Jackson State. There's a lineage of defensive players from HBCUs going to the NFL. So Shiloh's going to be in the NFL regardless. He may not be in the first, second round,
Right.
but he's going to make a team and make an impact and end up being a starter anyway, eventually. So for him, the move isn't really necessary. And I feel as though he's probably going to stay. But Shador, you're putting up 3,300 yards in the SWAC. Cool. FCS numbers, you're top 5, top 10. But those numbers in the
Different
Pac-12
ball game.
are going to be lower tier, quarterback-wise. So, like I said earlier, Shador hasn't faced the type of defenses that he's going to see playing in the Big 12. And remember, Colorado just doesn't play the Big 12 schools. They might play the LSUs or the Georgias or even like ACs. They might play the Clemsons or other big-name FBS schools.
And they're definitely going to schedule them now more so down the road.
And that's the thing. So, Deion, now, I believe the biggest thing from this is that Deion just likes reclamation projects. Like, he'll buy in enough to get you on his team. But he likes projects. He likes to fix up a 68 GTO with just the body itself, just the frame, and make it a whole car. But you're not going to have the same grace at an FBS school than you would at Jackson State or at a small level school. So if the deal is 5 years, they can't even pay him yet.
That's true, Jay. Yeah, they can't.
They don't have the
The
money.
quote is, "We don't have the money yet, but I know we will." That's of course Rick George, the AD over
But I'm getting off my soapbox. We got lots more to talk about.
They're
tonight,
working on that. They don't have it yet, but they will. The thing that stands out to me, guys, is just I think Colorado's the winner here. I think instead of Deion, they're the first one. They're like, we'll give him a shot. He comes, there's bringing the whole thing. Worst case, I think they get the better end of it. Then Deion looks, I think, worse. For him to take the first FBS offer, I know it's Colorado, 2 winning seasons in the last 17 years, but to me, it just seems a little odd. It's the first one, right? Colorado out of the Pac-12. Who knows if they even have a conference in the next couple of years? That's the first offer he gets, and he's gone like that. That just speaks for itself there. So I'm not sure where we would have seen him or who would have went after him. But he jumped pretty quickly.
I thought he was going to hold out for Florida State in another couple years.
And I think,
that was my thinking.
I thought so too.
If any other school, I could have respected that, or even the Auburn job. That was
rumored.
rumored.
And I think Auburn should have gave. I think Auburn should have gave.
And people forget last year he was rumored to replace Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss even last year after their other championship. He's been rumored to go to the SEC for a couple years.
So and again that tells you not a lot of ADs I guess were reaching out trying to get him. I think they were all kind of waiting to see what school was going to be the school to do it. Turns out it's Colorado. So
And remember, no schools wanted him until Jackson State gave him a job. Nobody took him seriously.
Exactly. And again,
after the fiasco at Prime Prep, then he went to Trinity Christian where he coached Shador.
Again, and we've seen a little bit of it now, right? Yeah. Colorado, the only team, the first one I would guess, but he jumped on that pretty quick. If I were him, wouldn't you think, maybe give it a little while, see what happens, you just win the SWAC championship, enjoy yourself for a little bit?
Air Force probably going to beat them next year.
We'll have to wait and see how he does there. Again, the recruits already rolling in, culture's changing, everything. We'll see how it goes over there out west in Boulder. But Deion taking a good chunk of our first segment here tonight. I like it. That's what we need. Open it up with a little Deion Sanders. Let's stay with college football now, guys, and jump to the college football playoff. We have our teams. We have our matchups. It's going to be number 4 Ohio State taking on number 1 Georgia in the first semifinal. Georgia, of course, your defending national champions, 13-0. They have looked good all season long, 6.5-point favorites there. And then TCU, after that tough loss, of course, in the Big 12 championship to Kansas State, their only loss on the season, the only blemish on that record. They will get undefeated Michigan, who's 13-0. Michigan 9-point favorites. And that one, your first teams out were Alabama and Tennessee. Of course, Nick Saban doing a lot of lobbying, trying to get his guys into that playoff after the loss for TCU. Did not work out for them. They get the 5. They're taking on Kansas State, who won the Big 12 in the Sugar Bowl. Tennessee will get Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Both of those games, really don't mean much to me, considering the injuries from Tennessee. And, of course, Alabama, Kansas State doesn't really, move the needle for me either. But let's talk a little bit about these semifinals, Matt. Ohio State and Georgia. Ohio State got beat up, absolutely crushed against Michigan there in that rivalry game to end their regular season. That's being their only loss.
2 years in a row.
They take 2 years. How about that? From Jim Harbaugh not being able to win at all against Ohio State 2 in a row for him, as he's getting some NFL calls, it seems, right now. We'll see if he makes or thinking about making that jump back to the pros, being a 49ers fan, Matt, but we'll hold that for another time. TCU and Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State. Are we going to have a Georgia-Michigan championship here? Ohio State, do they even give Georgia a game here? 6.5, not too big of a spread there, New Year's Day, I believe.
No, I think Ohio State can give Georgia a fight. Let me say this. The seeding, the college football committee clearly didn't want to put out Ohio State versus Michigan again. I guess they want to save that for maybe the championship game, because I just don't think TCU is a number 3 team in the nation. I struggle with that concept. And look, if I'm the committee, I get it. You're like, look, we already had the Michigan-Ohio State game. I don't want to do it in the playoff system too. Let them have to earn that rematch for the championship if they both win. So I get it. But I think Michigan's going to beat TCU. I think Georgia can beat Ohio State. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State does pull it through. They do have some really good pieces there, and they can give you a game. But mentally, look, it's one or two ways, right? So Michigan has been dominated by Ohio State before these last 2 years for like a decade, right? Now, Harbaugh's starting to put that smack down back to back to back. So does that play in Ohio State's minds? Is it like, if they're like really want to get them again, or are they like, dude, I don't know if we want to get them again? All that stuff is mental. It's going to be part of their game. But I really do think Ohio State can give Georgia a fight. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Georgia versus Michigan. And Michigan looking real good, man. I don't know. They could definitely take it home.
I think that would be a very good game, Jason. For me, I'm leaning Georgia right now. I mean, Ohio State getting that 4 seed. I like C.J. Stroud. I've liked him for the last couple of years. I think he could be the biggest X factor out of all 4 of these teams in terms of singular player performance. But for me, I think Georgia's been too good of a team all year, too complete. I think they get Ohio State pretty good there in this first round matchup. What are you looking for in this semifinal games?
I just want to talk about TCU for a second. I'm sorry. What were y'all thinking on Saturday, man? What were y'all thinking? Fourth down in overtime at the half-yard line. You go for, instead of taking the short 3 points, you cost yourself the number 2 seed. You cost yourself a Big 12 championship. I don't like the decision. I respect them being in the playoffs still, but God, you gotta finish that all the way through. But to go back to this playoff here, I think we're gonna have a Big 10 championship or national championship.
Oh, man.
I believe it's going to be Ohio State and Michigan in the national championship.
Wow. Well, I will tell you right now, the committee would not have one issue with that.
No.
They would love, that is a media, frenzy. Ohio State and Michigan, that might break the record
and
for
Ohio,
most views.
If it's Ohio State and Michigan, Ohio State will win the national championship.
And wouldn't that be something after 11-1. Ryan Day's done a great job here the last couple of years, obviously, in replacing Urban Meyer. They've been great. But after getting beat up like that by Michigan, I'm going Georgia-Michigan here. I think Georgia beats up Ohio State. I know Ohio State's got a lot of talent.
That's been in school 20 years.
It's crazy.
It's time to go, man.
I'm leaning Georgia here. I think Georgia's going to beat up TCU and Michigan. I think Michigan beats up TCU. I think we could have 2 not-so-close semifinal games. Maybe I'm, alone here and thinking that, but I just have been impressed so much with Georgia here recently, and I think the way Michigan's looked, the last few weeks, TCU coming off that first loss of the season, this is not the time you want to be taking a loss into the college football playoff. If they would have won that Big 12 championship, you still got some of that undefeated momentum rolling into that game where you're taking on an undefeated Michigan team. For me, it's Georgia-Michigan going away in the semifinal, and I think we have a pretty good championship.
Okay, so going off of your projections, can Michigan hold a candle to Georgia if that's the national championship game?
To me, I think Georgia wins it again. I'm going Georgia regardless. I do think it's a game, though. I think it's a good championship game.
Because normally the SEC plays the Big Ten. The SEC smacks them around.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised if they smacked them around. I think that game
always bad.
I'll tell you, I think Georgia wins. I think Georgia wins that game by 7 to 10 points if they play.
The reason why I respect Georgia, but the reason why I don't pick them,
and that's me more speaking more of Georgia,
to win the game. Thibodeau is walking through that door. Jordan Davis isn't there. Kobe Dean isn't there. The player they lost from last year's squad, although they made it back here.
The next man up over
I think the
there,
players from last year's squad were more battle-tested than his current roster, right?
And
that's my only reason for that.
I agree with you there. And again, I mean, they played that tough Tennessee team earlier this year. That's the best team they played.
Tennessee
a team that is similar to Ohio State. Similar to Ohio State, and then they lost Hooker for the season. He got hurt. But I'm telling you, they beat the brakes off of that Tennessee team that was red hot, that beat Alabama. They beat, the brakes off them. I think Georgia's built different. I got 2 words. I think it's Kirby Smart. I think he has just been fantastic there. That defense is just, 11 hats to the ball constantly. Stetson Bennett looks great for his second year coming off of that national championship. I was not a big fan of his last year. Didn't know if he could do it. It turns out he can. And I think another year there, he's just getting better and better. So give me Georgia to win it all. Who are you guys taking as your national champions?
Kirby Smart is really the only Nick Saban disciple left.
Decent one anyway. How about that? Yeah. So what do you guys think? I'm going with Georgia. I know it's number 1, probably the small favorite here to win it out. But what are you guys going with here?
I think I'll take Georgia.
Georgia. Jason, I know you want to take somebody else, but don't do it. Don't do it. What are you going with?
I want to go Ohio State.
Ohio State, dude.
When's the last time we had a repeat champion?
It hasn't been a repeat champion.
Florida?
No, that was basketball, not football.
Yeah, that was a year. They won in 06 and 08. There was
Did
a year
Nebraska win back-to-back?
They played the championship game twice.
Okay.
And then Alabama, Clemson split all those years.
Probably it might be Alabama.
It had to have been Alabama.
Alabama
won the year.
Alabama was probably the last back-to-back in that championship.
Okay.
But either way, it's going to be an exciting playoff here. Of course, you got to wait a month before you can see it, though.
But what about this Alabama-Kansas State game? That's actually interesting to me.
And again, for me, this one, and if you're going to look at it and watch it, which I guess we will, it's Alabama-Kansas State. Depending, you look at that line now, was it 5.5? Who's going to play for Alabama? That's the big question. I know you got a lot of these guys already pulling out of these non-semifinal bowl games, getting ready for the NFL draft. Yep. I think on paper with Alabama, this is a game, right, when you go in, Kansas State upsets TCU in that Big 12 championship. They got them. This is a game where Alabama kind of been, what does this mean to them type game. Right. I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas State wins that game.
I wouldn't be shocked either.
I mean, people act like Kansas State is just a leftover team. People forget when we were in the BCS format, Kansas State was relevant.
Wow, when's the last time you heard that? BCS.
Kansas State was relevant almost every year in the BCS format, even back to the days of Michael Bishop.
Shout out Michael Bishop.
That's what I'm saying, Michael Bishop. So it's,
man. So there's some good ones, right? We got some good matchups there. Tennessee and Clemson. DJ Uiagalelei entering the transfer portal today. He will no longer be there. So, of course, the freshman going to have to step up.
Tennessee wins that game against
going
Clemson.
Forward. Again, Tennessee battling a lot of injuries. We'll see if they can. I like Tennessee this year.
I think I like them too.
So those are your big bowl games. Now let's go into the NFL here, getting into it relatively late, but we had a lot to talk to in terms of college football. So let's get to our Week 13 in the NFL, and it starts with the NFC East. The Cowboys and the Eagles with impressive showings yesterday. The Eagles getting it started with a 1 o'clock kickoff and their win over the Titans coming in. That was kind of the tough game, and A.J. Brown, welcoming his former team to Lincoln Financial Field. And, of course, he said after the game he had that game circled on his calendar. And, of course, when your quarterback is, the godfather of your child, Jalen Hurts, he's going to make sure to get you the ball. And the MVP certainly did that to number 11 yesterday.
The who, what'd you say? What'd you call him?
Oh, the MVP. of the National Football League, Jalen Hurts.
Lord.
Again, in Vegas, he's a little bit behind Patrick Mahomes. That's a debate we can
Why
have.
is he behind
I don't
Patrick
know.
Mahomes?
He is. A conversation we can have at a future date. But the Eagles take down the Cowboys 35-10. Derrick Henry, coming in, could you run the ball? The Eagles, that was the big thing. The Commanders did it, and that went over them. Not yesterday. 30 yards rushing for King Henry. Jalen Hurts, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had that rushing touchdown, 8 catches for 120 and 2 for A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, Jason, also with 100 yards.
He finally had a good
receiving
game. He won me my
and a
fantasy this
touchdown.
week.
He looked good
About
yesterday
time,
as
man.
well, but the Cowboys, 21-19 against a Colts team. They're 10-point favorites coming into that Sunday Night Football matchup in Dallas against a Colts team led by Jeff Saturday. 3rd game, I believe, in his head coaching career. All right, so there he is.
Got
there.
slaughtered.
21-19, guys, going into the 4th, and I've never seen anything like this. 33-0. The Cowboys
like a Madden game.
outscored. It is. That's exactly right. They outscored them in the 4th
21
quarter.
to 1 quarter.
I mean, my goodness. So both of these teams, when it was all said and done, 54-19 was your final. If you just look at the score, it's a bloodbath, and it certainly was there in the 4th quarter.
Listen,
But they both with impressive wins. Jason, the NFC East, how's that shaping up?
Tony Pollard passes the eye test. I don't care what it. I haven't seen speed like that from running back in quite some time. He was just floating over the field.
He looks good, I'll tell you.
And then let me do
Oh,
this.
he got serious really quick.
Let me do this.
We're glad to get serious real quick.
I wrote Zeke off a little bit too early.
Really?
I think I like the
Zeke-
smash and dash they got going on.
But
there.
Zeke has. I'm seeing Zeke with speed again.
Getting a little bit healthier, maybe?
He's like Zeke is actually probably the healthiest he's been in like 4 years. Like I'm not saying he's like a bell cow Zeke again. He's probably not there.
Yeah.
But the shared carries is helping him now.
Oh, definitely.
And I saw a burst from him last night. I haven't seen on to eye test in the 3 years. I'm like, wait, this is like feed me Zeke. Like this is different.
He was in
like,
the Salvation Army, Bucky.
he been in the kettle, yeah. They pay that fine later, but no. But the combination of Zeke and Pollard works well. CD had another good game.
Yeah, it looks good.
He did.
Okay, and that's where my good things about Dallas stops. Sorry. There we go.
So let me ask you this, Matt. Both of them, Eagles and the Cowboys, who are you more impressed with here recently? It looks like 2 games out, they do have to play each other. The Eagles still holding that #1 seed in the NFC. So I don't want to ask you if the Cowboys can jump them to get that #1 seed or win the division. I'm not necessarily going to ask you that. You can comment on that if you want. But who are you more impressed with going forward? Who do you think has a better shot to make it further in the playoffs as of right now?
I would say the Eagles. I think they got the defense. I think I'm really impressed with them starting to now put Devontae Smith into the game plan. I think Dallas Goedert kind of forced them to rearrange how they get things done. About Zeke, I do agree with Jason. He doesn't have as much wear at this part of the season. There's 20, 25 carries, compounded through the season do add up as you get to this point. So probably that has been really good for him to be refreshed. The thing that worries me about the Cowboys at the end of the day is 2 things. It's the defense and it's Dak Prescott.
I won't say Dak.
That's what worries me because we don't know what Dak we're getting. We don't know if we're getting the Dak that looks like, man, this guy is top 5 quarterback, or you're getting the Dak where you're like, he's on Kirk Cousins mode. Like
here we go with this.
You don't know which one you're getting. Captain Mid. I don't know what happens
Captain
to this
Mid.
man.
Yeah, that's a great. I think we're
I
going
don't know what happens to this man.
book that down. Is that Kirk Cousins? Is that what we're naming
That's Kirk Cousins, Captain
man.
Mid.
Write
Captain
that
Mid.
down.
I don't understand.
That's a good one there.
I don't understand what happens to Dak. It's like he just all of a sudden.
I'll tell you what, though, again, Paul, we're going to get to this one in a second. Just as you said, Captain Mid. He was Captain Mid yesterday, and they still won and beat the Jets.
That's
I don't
right.
know how.
They're winning in spite of Kirk Cousins.
I don't know
okay?
how that happened yesterday. But just, sticking with him, like you said, Matt, you worried about the defense. You worried about Dak Prescott. Some people make that argument to the complete other side. They like the Cowboys because of Dak Prescott and because of that defense. What do you say to them?
Do you watch the games? Because I literally have seen throws from Dak. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Well, who concerns you more, Dak or the defense?
The defense.
Really?
Defense. They get burnt.
They're opportunistic.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're
Definitely
opportunistic.
They gamble a lot.
That's Trayvon
And
Diggs.
when they miss the gamble,
They get burnt.
it
every
get
time.
burnt bad. Barbecue chicken out.
Michael Parsons can cover everything.
That's a fact.
And again,
Now he may try, but he can't do it.
And they looked good, 40-3 beating Minnesota, but up and down the schedule. I haven't had too much competition in terms of playing good teams this year. I think Minnesota, looking at the schedule, one of the only good teams they've played recently.
But to answer your question, let me bring up a point though. I saw on ESPN First Take today where they had odds of reaching the Super Bowl, winning from the NFC. They had the Cowboys at 50% after last night's game.
I think they were number one.
They were number one.
Not?
That they had the Eagles at 30%, and they had the Vikings at 8%.
So how about that? The Cowboys, and again, interesting to go off of that point, Jason. The Cowboys are 9-3. The Eagles are 11-1. That's the fair, right? That's it right there. That's how I feel about
That's the face I made this morning.
That's the face I made.
What?
They're 2 games back in the division. Again, don't want to really focus on them winning the division.
Bewildered right now.
They are the 5th seed in the NFC at 9-3.
They're like
the Niners are 8-4. They've got the 3 seed. All right, and then the 4 seed's the Bucks, and again, they're under 500.
They got the Vikings at 8%.
And the Vikings are locked. Again,
Vikings
we'll get to the landscape here in a second.
They're not disrespected. It's Kirk Cousins, bro.
Captain Mid.
Captain
We'll get
Mid,
to him
bro.
in a second. Let's talk about
tell
Captain
you.
Mid now. Jets, multiple opportunities to score late in that game yesterday. Mike White, again, got him to the goal line twice, could not get the job done. Captain Mid, 173 yards and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson.
Mike White looked better than Cousins in that game,
yes,
didn't he?
he did.
Exactly. That's
Cook,
how bad Kirk Cousins
86
is.
yards and a touchdown for Dalvin Cook. The Vikings hold on. They get a 27-22.
The third-string Jets quarterback looked better in the game than Captain Mid just now. But y'all tell me I'm crazy.
I'm telling you. They find ways to somehow win these games. They're 10-2.
It's called Jefferson.
45 yards and a touchdown, they still win. It's crazy
And
yesterday.
Dalvin
Cook. They've got something. Kevin
Matter of fact,
O'Connell maybe got something going
If
on.
Kirk Cousins has any more kids, they should name them Dalvin and Justin because that's
Dalvin, Justin Cousins.
That's right.
DJ.
And if it's a female, need Dalvina or something like that.
Justina.
Justina, there you go. Because they are helping his career, man. Let me tell you.
Again, Jets defense, I thought that would carry
tell
over
you,
into
bro.
Minnesota. Did not work there. Just stopped at the goal line. They throw it the final 2 times. And Garrett Wilson, a huge game. Love what I'm seeing out of Garrett Wilson.
Oh, he's a baller,
beast,
man.
Right,
Beast.
absolute beast. But who do they go to on 4th and goal at the goal line? A game on the line? Braxton Berrios, who drops the slant for the touchdown,
AKA
game-winning
Wayne
touchdown.
Sherbert.
Braxton Berrios. I don't understand how they had
2.0.
three opportunities, guys, at the goal line from the 2 or 3 yard line. Quarterback sneak, run the ball, quarterback sneak. They throw it 2 times, can't get the job done.
This is why the Jets pissed me off.
You're right. That's what I made. I'm telling you.
Because some guy in the back, that's an offensive coordinator, is like, let's get Braxton Berrios involved.
They'll
here."
never expect it.
They'll never expect it.
They are the Jets.
Bro,
And that's a
come
game
on, man.
coming in again that would have been a big win for them in Minnesota. Again, Minnesota still finds ways to win. Jets, though, had multiple opportunities to steal that one. They couldn't do it. Again, my takeaways from that one are really more so about the Jets than the Vikings. That one's going to hurt their playoff chances going forward. We'll get over that landscape in a little while as well, but a tough win for the Jets. 49ers, let's talk about them here for a second before we get to the NFC. They beat the Dolphins 33-17, but not without the loss of their starting quarterback. Second time this year. Trey Lance early in the year. Now Jimmy Garoppolo has, of course, the 49ers one of the favorites to win the NFC. We'll see how those odds shift now. He was a broken foot, I believe.
Yeah,
so he's out for the season. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock
his
Purdy,
career.
the last pick in the draft.
I know he's Mr. Irrelevant. Wait, he's Mr. Irrelevant?
Mr. Irrelevant,
Oh.
last pick of the draft, rookie Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, gang.
Out of Iowa State. Again, Brock Purdy making me some money in the preseason. I was
That's
riding
right.
him all preseason.
There we go.
He looked great. Now you're seeing him in real-time
Mr.
regular season
Irrelevant.
action.
Mr. Irrelevant.
210 guys, 2 touchdowns in that game yesterday. Completed 25 of 37 passes. Looked good right in that Kyle Shanahan offense.
No,
And he looked good. How confident are you, Matt? I'll start with you here. You got that number 1 defense in the NFL with that 49er defense. Can Brock Purdy man the ship? And can he be a guy maybe that could lead the Niners to the Super Bowl?
He can't man the ship. He can, help other guys man the ship. Like
he can be one of the crew
Debo and
members,
Christian
right?
McCaffrey, he can help those guys out.
So are they
but
still Super Bowl contenders?
No.
No, there you
We're-
go.
we're-
Our first one.
We're going to go into playoffs, but
I'm interested with the league course on Not So Fast, my friend.
okay.
Jason, let's hear it.
I cheered for a team who won a championship with Trent Dilfer at quarterback.
Yeah.
And UD Blue had Joe Flacco.
And Flacco played lights out in that playoff.
Yes, he
series.
did. Oh, yes, he did.
But,
yes,
kept
he
throwing
did.
the same
But
play.
I'm
Go
go deep and Quan all day. But I'm going to say this about if the Ravens can win the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer, y'all can still have a chance with Brock Purdy because you have McCaffrey, because you have Debo, because you have
Ayuk.
Elijah Mitchell still, because you have Ayuk.
Nah, I think Mitchell's out now.
But he may come in the playoffs late in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And because you have Fred Warner, who's probably the
I
best
love me some
best
Fred
linebacker
Warner.
in the league right now.
I agree.
You still have a good defense.
I hope I am wrong.
Jimmy Ward's still out there.
I'm with you.
I respect the Niners. I play.
Are you comparing that?
That's what I like to hear.
Again, and I'm with you. That defense, again, statistically, just from the eye test, they have been fantastic.
Brock
Nick
Purdy, don't let
Bosa
us down, Brock.
And company have been great. Are you comparing? They got a defense. I mean, maybe not similar to that Ravens
Not
defense,
similar to
but they've got a good enough defense.
I'll play
We'll have to
this.
wait and see.
I compare this defense to that 2012 Niners defense that actually played in the Super Bowl and lost to the
okay,
Ravens.
yeah.
They're up there on that level almost.
Yeah, almost.
I mean,
Almost.
they got a good defense. We'll see.
Almost.
I mean, that Dolphins offense, I know you're missing both starting tackles
But that's the
yesterday.
thing. They shut down a high-scoring offense in the league.
And I said that offense for the Dolphins is legit.
Like-
But again, when you're missing two starting
some injuries,
tackles,
though.
they had some
You still beat
injuries.
them, though.
Still,
A win is a win. I'm
defense,
taking
it.
yeah,
Win is a
win's
win.
But
taking
now
it.
let's take a look at this landscape here. The Bucks win tonight. They are 2 games back from the Niners.
Hell no.
For
Don't
that
even answer the
3
question.
seed.
No, they
Jason.
cannot.
Bucks ain't happening, bro.
They
No.
also play the Niners in next week.
I don't.
They lose
Niners are
tonight,
getting a
then
dub.
then they got the one. If they win tonight, they beat the Niners next week. They are 1 game back with a few weeks to go with the tiebreaker in that win over the Niners.
No.
This 3
I'm not
seed
even listening to
means.
this.
I'm telling you, but let's just have this conversation, dude. This 3 seed means more than you guys realize, right? You got the Cowboys at
It's a
the
home
5
game,
seed
yeah.
and the Eagles at the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Yes, you got Minnesota at the 2. That 3 seed, you'd rather go through the Giants and the Vikings, in my opinion, as opposed to the Eagles and the Cowboys on that other side. I mean, if you're the Bucks, that 3-4 seed could be a big difference there. I like whoever gets that 3 seed.
And the Seahawks will be the 7th seed, right? Okay.
I think the Bucks would love to play the Vikings.
Right, and exactly, and that's my point. So whoever,
That's right.
the battle is for that
Captain
3
Mid.
seed. Everybody's talking about that. Everybody wants to be on that side of the bracket. The Niners and Bucks. Can the Niners hold on to that 3 seed? It'll be big if they can. What do you guys think?
It'd be huge if they can. And I do agree with you. I think
Because the Seahawks are giving them a run for that division as well.
they are. The Seahawks have played really well. I mean, shout out to Geno. Geno's been balling, but they had a couple injuries. They lost
They'll play
Walker.
each other
Walker,
down the
yeah.
street.
Yeah,
down the
Walker's
stretch as
huge for
well.
them. Yeah, they got to get. Hopefully, Walker comes back. And Travis Homer, I think their backup running back, he's been out.
He's banged up as well.
Yeah, so they got some injuries there, but yeah, Seahawks have been holding on strong. Is it just me? Is it like the Giants are starting to deflate now?
They
A,
do
li-
it.
a little bit. They're finding ways, but definitely.
They're finding ways,
They're
but
looking uglier and uglier every
it's
week.
getting
There's
uglier.
no doubt
But-
about that.
but is this
Offensively,
new?
especially.
But is this new?
No.
No, I mean, I think we kind of waited for the Daniel Jones thing to happen, and I think it's starting to happen. He's using his legs, but
But even bigger than that, even back when they had Tom Coughlin, they would go 6-2 and go 2-6. Like, no, this is
yeah, but then
this
they
is
can
nothing
get
new.
hot in the playoffs.
This is nothing
with
new.
Eli
It's nothing
Manning.
new. You know, nothing new. I don't trust them.
But when Slayton's
No,
your number
yeah.
one wideout, that's going to be
man,
issues, bro.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna throw.
that's where it is.
I'm
They have no
throw,
skill position.
I'm gonna throw a team out here that's not on this list yet.
Okay.
I think the Commanders leapfrog the Giants.
They're right behind them, right there. 7-5-1. They're sitting at that 8th spot, right behind the Seahawks and the Giants there. They could very well
That
make a
could be.
push, yeah.
They leapfrog them, and the Giants miss the playoffs.
Do they get Chase Young back, or is he?
Hopefully this week.
This
They're
week.
hoping to activate him this week. He was going to give
Okay.
it a go last Sunday. They decided to hold him out. He'll hopefully give it a go for them this weekend. And, of course, the Giants and Commanders flex to Sunday night coming up either this week or next week. And I forget which weekend. So that's going to be a prime
This
time
week.
game
This
this
week.
Sunday night as those two now battling for playoff position there. That NFC East is looking pretty
be
tough
huge
there.
for them.
Again, this NFC landscape going to be something to keep an eye on here these next 3 or 4 weeks. A lot could shift up there. Like I said, most of the seeds that you would anticipate to stay the same would be the Eagles at 1, Vikings at 2, and Cowboys at 5. But everything else is up for grabs. Even the Vikings overtaking the Eagles, that's just a 1-game thing. So we'll see how that
I
progresses.
really like the Commanders pick, though. I mean, they've got a lot of gadget guys that can get you. I mean, they got McLaurin, they got Samuel, they.
Ryan Robinson starting.
Robinson. I mean, Gibson, who we thought was all phased out from Robinson,
looks
he's been able to carve a niche in the offense. So, Yeah, they've got. I really like that call.
Heineke is new Tebow. He just wins games. Don't know how he's winning them. He just wins
does.
games.
Wins games.
Just wins
Again,
games.
Yesterday, though, somehow a tie between those two teams doesn't shock me really at all. But
Yeah.
that's what you get. NFC, though, going to heat up here in these next few weeks. Let's jump to the AFC. Lamar Jackson goes down with that knee injury. Jason, we'll get through this rather quickly.
Please.
Huntley comes in, though, 27 of 32, 187 yards, also adding 41 rush yards and that touchdown to get the victory late on that final drive. Jason, what's the outlook going forward on the Ravens? Them and the Bengals sitting at 8-4. Division pretty much up for grabs. I know both teams are kind of trending in different directions, but both are 8-4, tied for that division lead. Bengals, big win yesterday over the Chiefs in America's game of the week. Jamar Chase returns, has 100 yards receiving. They beat the Chiefs at home 27-24. How do you feel about the Ravens going forward in that division? Playoff outlook with no Lamar Jackson. Potentially no Lamar.
All of the prognosticators, given their proper title, all these sports channels, they're picking the Bengals to win the division and go far in the playoffs.
And then we both had the Ravens preseason, which was contrary. Everybody else across the nation, there was a lot of Bengals picks for sure. We were on the opposite side of that.
I will say this. I don't want to have a deja vu feeling, but I'm having one. The Ravens were 8-4 last year going into Week 13. What happened last year, Week 13? Lamar Jackson injures his knee. Coach Harbaugh, it's not that bad. I missed a couple weeks. Lamar missed the last 5 games of the season last year. The Ravens went from 8-4 to like 8-9. I hope we're not having a deja vu moment this year.
And Riley Stanley didn't play yesterday.
Another loss was Patrick Queen yesterday, being caught off the field. And I was at the game, so I saw this all real time. I'm like, what is going on here? But my thing is this. The Ravens offense is extremely mid right now, the word of the day, mid, M-I-D. Deshaun still has something in the tank, he does. But the Ravens are getting away from using Mark Andrews, and it's showing in the offense and in the point scoring. We were scoring more points earlier in the season. Now they're averaging like 17 and 21. You're averaging 35 the first 6 weeks. Now you're like at 19.3 points a game, something weird like that. The problem is Huntley can still guide the team to the playoffs. I believe he's been in the system. He knows what he can do. He's not Lamar, but he still have those RPO options with Huntley.
Yeah, for sure.
He's actually a more accurate passer than Lamar. Just give him credit. I will give him that. He throws a deep ball, the intermediate route a little better. The problem is, which Ravens defense will you see? That's the problem. The front seven are fine. It's that secondary. Main point, Marcus Peters. Stop getting burnt, bro. It happens every game. He almost cost his game yesterday.
And that's the part that hurts them. We've seen against the Bengals in the last couple of years. Those head-to-head matchups, the Bengals have gotten the better end of that because that's where the Bengals are strong, right? Those receivers going up against that secondary. A mismatch in terms of offense there for the Bengals against that Ravens defense.
Ravens win the division, so that's answer your question.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So really, 8-4 hurt Lamar Jackson. The Bengals are heating up right now. Go beat the Chiefs. And you're taking the Ravens to win the division?
I'm still taking the
Sticking
Ravens.
with them?
And the Ravens and Bengals always split anyway.
They do.
So the Ravens already beat them. So last game of the season.
And I was with you till this point, until this weekend, Matt. I'm watching the Bengals the last few weeks. I'm seeing what I saw last year. I wasn't sure if we were going to get that. I think they're getting hot at the right time. Playoffs are almost here. We're seeing Joe Burrow be Joe Burrow now. He knows what time it is. It's time to win the division. And again, I was on the Ravens preseason. I got to go with what I'm seeing out of the Bengals now. I think they were looking too good heading into the playoffs here. I think they'll win it. What do you think, Matt, between the Bengals and Ravens, both tied up here a couple weeks ago?
I like the Bengals, but I'll say this about what I think we're seeing. I think the Bengals are better because I think P. Ryan complements them better than Joe Mixon does.
Wow. Physical runner.
And Joe Mixon, I think, is the more talented back, but I think P. Ryan is the guy that gives them what they need. He's more of a straight line runner, a little bit more power, and when he runs, not the pass catcher that Joe Mixon is at all.
No one is at all.
Yeah. But I do think P. Ryan, the last couple of weeks, he's been giving them 100+ yards. Mixon sometimes can give you that. Usually it's 100+ when you add in his receiving. So it's a little different look for them. But I'll say this, and I think I think I like where you're going. I like where Jason's going. But the only issue I have with the Bengals at some point is two things. I love that everybody sees them now and they say, "Oh, this is the offense we saw when we were in the Super Bowl." But there's a difference between the Super Bowl Bengals and the Bengals we see now. And that difference to me is, I think more people think that Joe Burrow now is not that guy that they thought he was. So like going into the Super Bowl last year, I think people said, "Oh, this is the ascension. He's there with Pat Mahomes, with Josh Allen." I think people now think he's a tier below those guys now. Still, extremely talented quarterback. Not saying he's mid. Extremely talented quarterback. But I just think that I don't think he's that guy that people look at and say he makes magic whenever he wants to make magic. I think he's very talented. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But
I'm
elite, I don't know.
To me, I think the clutch factor is the difference for him.
Okay.
I just think when you need a big play, he gives it to you. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
But is it him or is it Jamar Chase?
I think it's
Higgins.
Burrow.
Or T. Higgins.
I think it's Joe Cool. We'll see going forward. I just
Would he put up these numbers if he was the Chiefs
if he was on the Chiefs
or the Chargers?
Ooh. I think you would. With Keenan Allen? I think you would. I think, again, for me, in watching Burrow, he always gets better as the season goes on. I think as the season goes on, he gets better and better. I think he's finally, getting.
Well, let's look at the team here. So Higgins is athletically, a lot of people don't know this, he was a ridiculously good basketball player in high school.
Yeah.
He's one of the most athletic and physical receivers in the whole league. Yeah. Jamar Chase, built like a Greek god, strong as can be. They got probably the best 3 wideout team.
Yeah, arguably
with Boyd.
They do.
Hayden Hurst is just a really good, solid tight end who could get you 600 yards in a season with his eyes closed. You have Mixon, who's a 1,000-yard back. I just don't see the weapons that Joe Burrow has. And look, he should have those weapons. Every team should build to have weapons. But I'm just saying, you put him in some of these other teams, who do you rather have? I mean, I don't know. If I'm playing that game, I'd rather have the Bengals wide out than I'd rather have the Chargers right now.
Oh, I agree.
But can the Bengals defense win them the game?
That's where I don't think they can.
And that's the question, right? For me, watching that game yesterday, coming into the game, I had the Chiefs as the better team in the AFC coming in. And watching their defense against the Bengals yesterday, I mean, for me, watching that game was going forward, what defense do I trust more to get a stop in the playoffs? And for me, it was Cincinnati over the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense, to me, year in and year out, and again, even this year, it's bad. I mean, if they need one stop, I can't rely on them to get it. Can you rely on Mahomes to take you a game-winning touchdown? Yeah, absolutely. But for me, the Bengals were more physical defensively, and I think you've got a better chance with that secondary in Cincinnati. They're great up front. I think they have a better chance of making the stop, a big-time stop in the postseason as opposed to the Chiefs. Or even, I think the Bills will be, once that defense gets healthier again, once they get healthy coming in, I think they'll be up there as well. I probably would have the Bills at the top of the AFC. But looking at the rest, I think I got the Bengals right under them there.
I mean, a lot of people are on the Bengals bandwagon right now, the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, and
after yesterday, you're right. It's going to be the talk of the nation.
I see why regarding the eye test.
And I do love Miami as well, but
to me,
defense again.
The Bills don't pass the eye test this year to me. I'm sorry.
You're talking about offense because they got to get healthy defensively. They're not there.
Overall, they don't pass the eye test to me. I still think the road to Super Bowl is still probably.
I'll say, who do you trust the most right now in the AFC? Who's your team you think you trust the most to get there?
So I'm not going to be a homer. Got to go with honesty and real facts.
Yeah.
If I'm trusting a team, it's still either Miami and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I see. I'm Buffalo, Cincinnati. I'm right there. I take Buffalo, Miami. I'm right there with you too. But yesterday, watching them against that Niners defense, and that's the first.
The Niners defense is good.
You're right. It's best in the league. It is. I agree with you there. Tua got beat up yesterday.
The Ravens
and that
still
run game has not been great with injuries.
The Ravens still have. It's something about the Ravens when they go into December and January. They just know how to win games at that time of season. And the Ravens still winning games without J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, we'll see if he even comes back this year. I'm worried about him returning.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to come back either. But again, you said it. You're feeling a little bit deja vu, like last year's Ravens. I hope you're wrong too.
I hope I'm wrong.
Again, if we had to pick my 3, I'm going to go Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Miami for me. What do you guys think?
I
don't trust Kansas City.
struggle with Buffalo. And let me ask this.
Yeah.
So other than Josh Allen, who, and yeah, we know that wideouts can only get what the quarterback gives them, right? Other than Josh Allen, I guess we could say Diggs. Who else do you trust on that offense to get going?
I will say.
Don't say Dawson Knox.
It's not Dawson Knox. It's not Gabe Davis. It's not McKenzie.
It's supposed to be Gabe Davis.
It's supposed to be Gabe Davis.
I don't know if you could.
It's not Singletary. Cook looks like he's done better in the past couple
getting
weeks.
better. I think he'll start to use.
But that running game has to get going for
We've been
them.
talking about this all year.
Exactly. That's the issue. All
has to
year.
get going for them. And let me just finally say this, and we've been talking about this all year too. Josh Allen has to show and prove, man. At this point, when the game's online, he's got to take that step forward. If he doesn't, like, people are going to just say, like, this is a repeat thing.
And I'm tired of people putting Josh Allen over Lamar when Lamar's running MVP. I'm going to leave that alone.
We got to get to Monday Night Football here. We're
Don't
running low
shade.
on time, but a lot there. AFC going to be some fun as well. And man, we're going to have some great weeks coming up here. Let's talk now Saints and Bucks. We've had some historically bad primetime games here after our show, but we're going to hope for a good one tonight between the 4-8 Saints and the 5-6 Tampa Bay Bucks. How about these numbers, guys? Bucks are 0-4-1 against the spread after a loss, and the Saints, they're 0-5 versus the spread on the road, so something's got to give. Something's got to give here between these two bad teams here against the spread. What are you guys looking for tonight before we get into our pick'ems and over-unders? What's your X factor here for the Saints and the Bucks? Matt, we'll start with you.
I'm looking at mid. That's what I'm looking at. Kamara's mid. Dalton's mid. Brady's been mid.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty mid all the way around, man. Let's be honest here. I mean, the only guy that has been somewhat good is Godwin and Evans, and that's it. And Evans is even sometime.
Yeah, listen, last couple of games, yeah.
I mean, listen, man, I don't know what's going on in New Orleans. I mean, Kamara, this is bad, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on with
Last
Kamara.
week, I mean, he's been asking for 2 weeks in a row, right?
Is he owed debts or something? Like, is he child support killing him? I don't know what it is, man. He's like not in the game though.
Maybe the court case hanging over his head.
Maybe the court case. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. He doesn't. It's every year he's usually been a top 10 running back, and this year it's just like, bro.
And again, both of these coaches for me, Dennis Allen and Todd Bowles, underachieving. I don't have a lot of confidence in either of them running these two teams. For me, X factor. I mean, it's going to be how that offensive line for Tampa Bay holds up tonight. You know, you're already beat up, no Jensen, et cetera. Now you lose your best offensive lineman, Tristan Wirfs. He's out. Brady's going to have to get rid of that ball in 2 seconds. We already know about the struggles that they have against the Saints already. They are 3-point favorites here at home. And Andy Dalton, I don't think I'll ever bet or put my winning on Andy Dalton. So I don't know. This one's, again, could
that's the former captain mid. He passed
you're right about that one.
The baton to Kirk Cousins.
Actually, I think the original captain mid was Carson Palmer, but we're going to keep going.
Carson Palmer, we're going to go. Hey,
Carson Palmer.
If Kimo Van Olhoffen didn't tear that ACL, would we be having a different conversation?
We would.
Well, Eli Manning is emperor mid, though.
Emperor mid.
Too soon. All right, let's stick to the task here. Tonight, though, I'm focusing on the offensive line up front for Tampa. Let's jump into these over-unders, guys, here. But
Jason, what
are you looking for? What is your X factor here tonight, the Tampa and the Saints? I know you and Dennis got some action going on.
Cam Jordan.
Oh, man, that's a good. He could be feasting tonight.
Because of the offensive line struggles of Tampa Bay, Cam Jordan's X factor tonight.
And again, when you look at in terms of statistics, this Tampa Bay defense is not as bad as we all think. I think in terms overall, they're a top 10 somehow defensively. The offense has just been putrid for Tampa so far this season. They struggle with the Saints. Here they are at home, though, against them. We'll see how they do. We'll get to our picks at the end. But again, you're talking Cam Jordan here. We'll see if he destroys Tom Brady tonight.
He normally does. So.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's get to these over-unders. Jason, going to start with you here, and we'll all go through left to right. Andy Dalton, 215.5 passing yards tonight.
God, over.
Over?
Yeah.
I'm going to go over. Why not, Matt? What do you think?
I know.
I'm going to go under, man. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I just don't believe
Brady,
it.
263.5 passing yards. Matt, start with you here.
I hope so, because I got him on starting this week on
I
fantasy.
do too, and for that reason, I'm taking the under. I know he's not doing it. Give me the under.
I'll take the under as well.
I'm going to do reverse psychology. I'm going to take the under so you go over.
Alvin Kamara, you just mentioned him, Matt, but Jason, we'll start with you. 49.5 rush yards for Kamara here on the road against Tampa.
For God's sake, he's in my league. Over.
Over. I don't think he gets there. I'm going under, Matt.
I'm going under.
He may catch some balls. I don't think he gets it on the ground. Olave, 4.5 receptions in this one, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, he goes over that.
Over.
Over.
All of us unanimous there. Here we go. Godwin picking it up. 70.5 receiving yards. Give me the over, Jason.
Over.
All right, let's jump to the pick'ems here now. More rushing yards. Matt, we'll start with you. Kamara, Fournette, or Rashad White? Which one of those three leads the way? Rashad White. I'm going to go with, oh, man, this is a tough one here. I guess I got to go with White, right? We both talked about Kamara. Give me White as well. I'm going against him tonight in fantasy anyway. So
None of them. No.
No average, 2.5 yards a carry. Kamara. Okay, so we're all splitting there. More passing touchdowns tonight. Tom Brady or Andy Dalton? Jason?
Why?
The over-under in this game is 41, by the way. They're expecting, I think the over-under in the first half is 19.
You know what?
I like the under.
I'm going to go Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, give me, like we said, we both got Brady going. It ain't going to be him, right? I'm going to go Andy Dalton then if we both got him. What do you think?
I'm going to tie. They're just going to throw one.
Yep, that's a mid-game right there. That's a mid-game. Both guys throw one touchdown.
That's a push right there. Bro.
More receiving yards. Godwin, Mike Evans, or Chris Olave, man?
Ooh, that's a good pick.
I'm going to go with Olave.
Olave. So give me Godwin.
I'm going to go Mike Evans.
There we go, splitting us across the board again. All right, guys, give me your anytime touchdown score here. Who finds the end zone in tonight's matchup? Jason, well, actually, I'll get it started here for this one. Give me Chris Godwin in the end zone, Jason.
You know what? I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to go Kamara.
Kamara gets to the end zone. There you go, Matt. What do you think?
Give me the Johnson, the tight end for Saints.
That's a great answer. Juwan Johnson. I love it. He finds the end zone. I don't know how, but you're going to have some good odds on that one as well. Juwan Johnson
2 receptions with 1
getting
touchdown,
in the end
50
zone.
yards.
You guys like anything tonight in terms of line? I'm going to go with the Bucks -3. I'm not confident in it, but I do like the Bucks 3. This line opened at 6, got bet down to 3. Is there some money going New Orleans way? Give me Tampa at home. Matt, let's go to you here quickly. What do you think, Tampa or New Orleans?
I'm going to go with Tampa.
Tampa will laying the 3?
I do.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 3 as well. Jason, here we go.
Hey, Dennis.
New Orleans.
Come on out here, Dennis.
On the road at Tampa. 3-point favorites over under 41. Jason, who you going with tonight? Can the Saints get the minor upset in this NFC South battle?
I was just in the Bayou 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
I was in New Orleans. Nolans, if you will, for short. Superdome is
Has
nice.
some crawfish.
Superdome is nice. Need to fix the roof inside. But let the good times roll, baby.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
Saints.
Going with the Saints. Jason picking the Saints. Me and Matt, I guess you're taking the 3, right?
Oh, yeah.
Taking the
Outright.
3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, take them to win the game. They're going to win
the
money
game,
line.
yeah.
Take the money line. So he's on the Saints. Me and Matt are on the Bucks laying 3. Dennis, how you feel tonight? You can take the Bucks laying the 3, money line. What do you think about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Bucks all the way. Dennis is confident in those 3. He said take them across the board. Take the money line, take the Bucks -3, take all the Bucks players overs. That's how Dennis feels in tonight's matchup. Hopefully it's not an ugly one. When you see an over-under of 41, you don't get too excited. Hopefully we get the over there tonight. But guys, any closing words here as we wrap up first show in a while? Great to be back with you guys, and should be hopefully a fun one tonight. Let's have a good call here on ESPN. What do you guys, any last words?
He ain't swag.
Yeah, there it is right there, Matt.
Must be the money.
That'll do it for us here tonight. For Jason McCall, Matt Maurer, Dennis Pritchard, and Nick Alessandrini. We will see you next time right here on DETV. Get yourself a nice Monday night football game in tonight in a battle of the mid-teams of the NFC South.